We'll do the things we love again. We'll hang out with friends. We'll put our screens away and be amazed by what's been waiting for us. We'll dance and eat and laugh again. We'll look in our own backyard and find that it is full of wonders. There will be adventures and art. We will stand in the sunshine and we will be free. Where will you go first?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Fish East Live. I'm your host, Don Patterson, and we're really excited this week. We're wrapping up our series in conjunction with the Maritime Boating and Outdoor Digital Marketplace. We started this series, with Minister Mike Holland for Natural Resources here in New Brunswick, and we're excited today to have a special guest, the Honourable Tammy Scott-Wallace, Minister of Tourism, Heritage and Culture. She'll be joining us here in just a moment or two. Normally, at this time, I'd be bringing in my co-host, Mr. Matt Zito. Matt, you're going to be missed tonight, buddy. It's not going to be the same without you. You folks have to put up with me talking even more than normal, and I know that's hard to imagine. But Matt's feeling under the weather, so we're going to let him have a night off. And Minister Scott-Wallace and myself are going to talk tourism and fishing here in New Brunswick. So I'm glad you're joining us for another episode of Fish East Live. So without further ado, the Honourable Tammy Scott-Wallace, New Brunswick Minister of Tourism.
Well, hi, Donald.
How are you this evening?
I'm great. It's nice to finally meet you. I think we might be from the same neck of the woods.
I'm pretty sure if you're sitting in your constituency office, we're literally sitting about a kilometer apart at the moment.
Okay. I'm actually in Fredericton right now, but that's
Okay.
right. I live in Sussex, happily, proud to be from Sussex. And I know you and I've spoken before. We have some mutual friends.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's, great to have this opportunity. And in all honesty, it's pretty exciting to have an opportunity after the announcement made by the government today. There's finally some light at the end of this tunnel.
Well, I thought maybe Matt would be on tonight, being he's from Nova Scotia. And I've never met Matt, but I certainly know he's been anxious to get here to do some fishing, and it looks like maybe come Canada Day he's going to be able to do that. So that was absolutely exciting news today.
Yeah, it definitely was. I saw the announcement when it was short. Well, a friend of mine is very good at posting Coles Notes versions because
perfect.
I teach. I'm a driving instructor for truck drivers, and it's probably not a good idea for me to be sitting there on my phone watching a video of the news release when, I've got a student who maybe hasn't driven a tractor trailer before in the passenger seat. So,
right. Yeah. Well, it looks like a lot of things will be opening up definitely over Canada Day and by New Brunswick Day, maybe we'll have a lot to celebrate. So it was great. A good news day for sure. Yeah,
definitely. And as you said, and as you obviously have heard, my co-host Matt is, there's a couple bucket list fish here in New Brunswick that he can't find in Nova Scotia for him. So he's quite anxious to get up here and spend some time with us on the water and, explore what New Brunswick has to offer. And I guess that kind of leads me to my very first question. I mean, New Brunswick has always been known, and rightfully so, as, a world famous salmon, and trout cold water species fishing destination. In more recent years, New Brunswick has developed other world-class fisheries, smallmouth bass, striped bass, muskie. How important can these newer, I'll say newer, even though smallmouth have been in the province for 150 years, but these newer species play to tourism or to the province from a tourism perspective?
Well, really, depending on the species, and we do have a variety of species. It's not just the couple that we kind of grew up hearing about. We're kind of constantly exploring. You wouldn't think that the tourism department would be involved in the fisheries, but that's very much more up the alley of Department of Natural Resources Minister Mike Holland, who you had talked about, being here in your first show. So he is a hard act to follow in this world, absolutely. But when it comes to tourism, though, I think we're just really starting to see how key our fish and hunting industry and the outfitters as important players in that world. So we're really elevating that. We're spending more time looking at what species are out there all 4 seasons, and how we can promote those fishing opportunities. So it's been a bit of a learning curve for me. I was raised by a forest ranger in Belial Creek, so certainly I'm well familiar with the outdoors and fishing and hunting. But still, I mean, I grew up thinking that you stuck your rod in the creek and you fished for trout, and so my world has been broadened most certainly when I see the anglers and the power of them really in this province.
Well, there's no denying the number of anglers and the power that those anglers hold. And, I think it's great to know that your department is embracing a multitude of species, not just the species, but the opportunities. We have so many rivers, lakes, streams, backyard ponds, so many places that people can get out and whether they're spending days on end or just a couple hours out of a day with, a fishing rod in their hands, there's endless opportunities across this province for people to explore.
And that is definitely true. But what I find as a mom, and this is something I've talked often to people in this industry about, is it's one thing for you to know what all those opportunities are because it's what you do, it's what you love. But sometimes when you're a mother, and I've got a teenage son who just really wants to get out and fish, we're doing our absolute best without sometimes enough information. We don't know where those places are. And these are things that I think as a department, we're trying to promote more. Are there ice fishing opportunities? I mean, if I wanted to go ice fishing, I really wouldn't know where to start. Do I just knock on somebody's, door and ask them if I can join them? But it's just, it's really something that as I talk to people outside of that community of anglers, serious anglers, it would be nice to have more of those opportunities for our young people. And again, we don't always know where to start, but really in the St. John River, I mean, we've got bass tournaments happening that are completely available, accessible to all New Brunswickers. We have the Striper Cup in Miramichi. It's just a couple of things I was writing down, and the smallmouth tournaments. I mean, these are held all over New Brunswick. So I just really hope New Brunswickers, especially, if they want to experience this, they know that they can. And there's so many mentors out there like you and like Matt and so many others across the province, and grandfathers and, fathers, people who have done this for decades, right? But we really have to make sure our kids are experiencing kind of the thrill of being outside and the fresh air and just the good exercise in that.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, there's memes that float around Facebook and different social media all the time about, more tackle boxes, fewer X boxes and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I truly believe that that's something that we have to focus on. And, the opportunities are definitely there for us to do so, whether it's, we've got a group of guys going fishing this weekend right here locally in Sussex. And I'm almost sad to admit this. Last year, I pursued this particular opportunity for the first time. Every spring, the American shad run in the river. And I've lived in Sussex 6 or 7 years now. And until last year, I never took the time to actually pursue them. And it's literally 3 minutes out the road from my house. But once again, I was a very common angler. I had my niche. I had the one or two species that I really targeted specifically. And since we've gone down this journey with Fish East, it's really opened my eyes. Wow. And I've learned a lot. And, you know, I'm happy to try and do my part to show not just our province, but to show the world what the New Brunswick and the East Coast in general here has to offer. So whether it's smallmouth or stripers or shad or brook trout or Atlantic salmon, you know, the opportunities are here. So, you know, I think we all have to do our part to get the word out there. And once those borders open back up, let's get some folks coming here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, you know, we know that the borders will be opening up, and we know that, you know, it's not always fishing. It's such a kind of such an interesting sport in that it can cost as little or as much as you want it to really, and it's so available. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible what, you know, and it just depends on the tackle and the season, right? On what it is that you're going for. And so I find it's just, you know, fishing is growing. We're seeing in the department just more interest in fishing. I'm also the Minister for Women's Equality, so we can also speak for women in this world of angling and the outdoors. I mean, there's just so much more demand. Women are really owning these sports that may have been, you know, traditionally men, but they're either they're going out on their own, or they're joining their families, or they're taking their children, or I mean, they're also masters at the craft, you know, like so many other New Brunswick men. So anyway, a lot of very interesting things are happening in this industry in the province.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have the newest to my knowledge. There may be newers elsewhere, but you know, we have a very new, less than a year old tackle shop in Fredericton with a female owner.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to compete in bass tournaments against, you know, female anglers. There's plenty of ladies out there embracing the sport of fishing in multiple, you know, aspects. And, you know, I think it's great. I don't care who's standing, whether it's on a boat or on the riverbank beside me with a rod in their hand. You know, the more people that are out there on the water, the better I think we're all going to be, because, you know, it's something that we can just share and find a common bond over. And, you know, common bonds are something that we're seriously lacking in this world.
Yeah, it's almost such a simple thing, isn't it? Really, if you see people after supper pulled, you know, you see the cars, you know who's fishing, and not everyone's on the Restigouche, you know, looking for salmon. I mean, you've got every little creek or you know, lake in the province. You see the cars lined up along the side of the road, and it really is as simple as that. You see people go with their single rod, and I understand probably most of your audience is much more serious about the sport than that. But I guess to me, that's where it begins, right? That love of the outdoors and just what we can catch and enjoy. That's all a part of it. It's very important.
Well, I don't want to refer to it in terminology similar to drugs, but it's the only way I know how to do it. It's like any addiction. It all starts with that first one. And,
oh yeah, okay.
You know, most fellows, or, you know, individuals, men or women like myself, please don't ever ask what we have invested in rods, reels, and tackle over the years, because somewhere along the way, someone has probably lied to their significant other.
Yeah, probably. So it's unbelievable, really. But it's kind of that, you know, you talk about the drug of it, but it's, you know, what is more incredible than standing on the river and throwing out, you know, 40 feet of line in hopes of getting that salmon, and kind of, especially, you know, in the fall season and the beautiful leaves. And, you know, this is what, I know we're talking fishing, but I'm talking tourism. I'm talking the beauty of it, the experience of it, that really is second to none, you know, in this province. And of course, this is exactly why people come here for it, you know, to experience it.
Well, maybe I'm a little biased being a lifelong New Brunswicker, and I grew up, you know, as far as I'm concerned, in one of the best places in the world, right on the St. John River Valley.
Oh, yeah.
through my career as a truck driver, I've traveled through 45 states and 9 different provinces. And the feeling of returning to that St. John River Valley, I haven't seen, don't get me wrong, I've seen beautiful places all across North America, but I've never seen anything that, is the same as coming to that St. John River Valley. So like I said, I might be a little biased, but that's my opinion.
Well, I'm not sure you are, because, we are not sure you're biased, because we are seeing more and more people come to New Brunswick. And as they move to New Brunswick, I mean, we're seeing numbers like we never have before. Just look at our housing market. And that's, that's not a new story. Well, it's been new in recent months. We've seen this uptake, but with that, these are more people who are exploring our province, who want to get on our waters, and they want to experience opportunities in New Brunswick. And this is why, to me, I'm saying it's so important to promote this industry. And really, the tourism department has not done a good enough job in the past promoting this industry, because but we have people who want that, who need that. Really, it's about quality of life and experience. And so we have a lot of good things going for us right now, including new people who are just dying to try.
Yeah, well, let's do everything we can to get those folks on the water. Now, we're talking about tourism. We're talking about folks moving to New Brunswick, being new here and wanting to get out and see what New Brunswick has to offer. And we're talking about the opening of the bubble and the start of a return to normal. But at the same time, for the last year and a half, roughly, a little less than that, but roughly going on a year and a half, New Brunswickers have been staying at home. And I think that for the foreseeable future, obviously, when the borders open up, there's going to be some people that still flock to see family members, or that missed vacation that they're just kicking themselves over, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of people that are going to look to stay closer to home. Yeah. So what kind of programs, what's your department offering now to encourage the staycation concept, the staying close to home? What are you doing to try and make sure that New Brunswickers decide to spend their money here at home first?
Well, I guess I know that, last year we had our Explore NB program. That was something we tried in the summer. It was 20% reimbursement or rebate on any vacations, any staycations within the province. If you spend a night, well, we saw that people's need to be outside was kind of, it was through the roof, really, because of course, people were being encouraged to stay home. But what it also did, it seemed to be some, mind shift in people. They always felt they had to leave New Brunswick to have their best experiences. And so last year, and we especially saw on social media, and we see this with our angling as well. We saw on social media that, if people went to Mount Carlton and they posted it the next weekend, you couldn't get near Mount Carlton. I mean, people were just craving these experiences. They've gone to places, the south went north, and the north went south. I mean, and everyone knew it was because we were really getting reintroduced to our province. And what I'm hoping is that it really built a habit. If all of a sudden you're taking your kids, to the waterfall or fishing after supper or whatever, it becomes a part of your family, your story, really. It's where your best memories are made outside. I really do believe that in New Brunswick. So this year we just this week launched that program again, but just a couple of weeks ago, we also introduced it to the outfitter industry. And that is because, we know that this is an industry that's been really hard hit by the closure of the borders. No longer are our outfitters having hunters and fishers from, outside of the province come in and pay very, good dollars. I mean, it's a pretty lucrative experience, to have that with an outfitter and to stay in the cabin and all the things included. So what we decided to do was to offer any outfitters who created a package they were already reducing their package because, of course, they're selling to New Brunswickers, and you and I can go in our own backyard anytime to do these, to have these experiences. So we really wanted, them to have an opportunity, though, to make some money from New Brunswickers who maybe wanted that few day experience. And we offered a 20%, and we continue to offer a 20% rebate to them for every package they sell. So it's been very helpful to the outfitters in our hunting and fishing, world.
Yeah, I'm sure it would, because like you said, I mean, I can go out. There's very few there's very few opportunities here in New Brunswick that are limited on access. So I could take it upon myself, and no, I may not be as successful, but I'm going to look at it and say, am I going to spend my money to go pay someone to take me to do something I can do myself? But if all of a sudden that experience is a little bit cheaper, so why not? Hire a guide, stay at a lodge, spend a few dollars, get away for a weekend. I could see that, and we have some great facilities, whether it be the salmon lodges on the Miramichi, you've got Clay and Tanya Harrison up at Long Lake Adventures in Plaster Rock. There's a multitude. North Lake Lodge is another one. I probably shouldn't have started naming any, because I could never name them all. But
they are absolutely incredible. And you say that, yes, you can definitely do that, Donald, but I'm not sure I could just go and have an experience on my own. I mean, you're experienced and I'm really not. And so to be able to take my family and to have that experience with someone with experience to show us, I mean, my goodness, every time we go out where someone's having some traumatic event over, the hook going too far and the kids having to dig that out. And, we have all kinds of trauma when we have a little fishing outing. But this is an opportunity for families to go and to learn from the best and to stay in a beautiful place and eat the food from the camp. And so, while it may not be necessary for the serious angler, it certainly is a great opportunity for other New Brunswickers who would love to be introduced to that.
Oh, without a doubt. And even a serious angler, or someone who has, like I said, most of us stumble into a niche. We have, one or two species that we've grown overly fond of, you could say, and we don't broaden our horizons. Sure. And one prime example of a species that so many people want to target, and New Brunswick has a definite world-class fishery, is muskie.
Yes.
But muskie is not, I can't take the rods that are out in my garage that I purchased for fishing smallmouth and go target muskie. I'm going to end up with a broken heart and a broken rod and just lost fish. If I'm lucky enough to hook one, I'm not going to land it. So, rather than spending the money on buying all the gear and going out and fishing muskie and getting frustrated because I have no idea what I'm doing, I just spent a whole lot of money. I hire someone like Marlon Prince to take me out. He's experienced, he's knowledgeable, he has all the right equipment, and he's going to improve my odds of finding those fish so I can learn from him. Excellent point. Yeah.
In these places, how else would you have access to some of these outfitters? Their setups are incredible. I've been out to visit some of them, and you don't want to go home. It's, to even imagine having access to some of these places and what the water is offering. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I do have a couple questions here, Matt, where he's not feeling well tonight. He did forward along a couple questions just because, I hope he's watching at home. It all depends on just how sick he really. Knowing him, he could be out fishing. He could have just decided it was a nice night. He's got a lake in his backyard. He's probably just playing hooky so he could go fishing.
That's what you guys all do, isn't it? I think I've heard wives talk about that.
And
employers.
Employers. That's the big one. It's hard to hide. I have a hard job hiding from my wife, but I'm not going to say that. People I know may hide from their boss every now and then.
Well, you have a GPS for your fish, right? So I think the wives have a GPS for the men in their lives.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So, no, never mind.
That was a good idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna start that. So, anyways, back to Matt's topic. Matt says he just sent me a message. It just buzzed across my wrist that I'm just jealous that we can't use his fish taco picture tonight. If you've watched previous episodes, Matt has become pretty famous for his fish tacos.
I heard about the tailgate fish tacos. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go, Matt. There's the obligatory fish taco picture for tonight. So now he's just trying to prove that he's actually watching. So, but like I said, Matt wanted to ask, what are some must-stop destinations within New Brunswick to experience not only great fishing, but food, sites, history, culture?
Yeah, and I know that I hear that Mike is wanted here for an ice fishing experience, later in the winter. So hopefully that's well after Canada Day, so he can get here to do some ice fishing here. But I did scribble a few of those down. I was wondering if some of our favorite places, Nakawik, certainly that is, they're upgrading their boat launch there, and there you'll find the Big Axe Brewery as well. I've got to be careful of what I'm saying. Big Axe Brewery, and so that is an incredible spot. There's muskie and smallmouth bass and rainbow trout there. Of course, the St. John River, we know that it's got the beautiful waterfront and with endless restaurants and local history. And so the Reversing Falls Bridge, everybody knows the world-class Reversing Falls Bridge. And so we have, there's the giant striped bass. They kind of migrate through there. So that is a very neat experience. And then, Fredericton, Fredericton has these incredible, has the most incredible restaurants and, muskie, smallmouth bass. There's awesome boating, and there's a deck right at the Delta Hotel. And I don't know if people are totally familiar. I mean, the people who are familiar are really familiar, but it's such an accessible, easy opportunity there. Miscoo Island, the sandy beaches, and you can catch stripers there right there from the beach. And it's, the stripers migrate there after they leave the Miramichi spawning ground. So it's really a unique, very, very cool spot. And other than that, I'm going to say, if I was naming my top 5, I'd have to say Miramichi, of course, because the great spring striper and the salmon that are there. It's all summer and fall. I mean, that's really a place you can never go wrong there, of course. And really that region's in the salmon there. I mean, they're our ambassador, but there are so many other species in our province to be enjoying, and I just don't want anyone to lose sight of that. I mean, we kind of have a new day and a new focus, just more to offer here, and it just seems our anglers are really discovering all of those, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny you mentioned Miscoo Island. We ventured up to Miscoo last July, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And I've traveled all over the province. But Miscoo is one spot I had never been.
Right.
And what a phenomenal place. Spending the day on the beach just down from the Miscoo Lighthouse. You're at the furthest most eastern point in New Brunswick. And you've got this beautiful sandy beach, the lighthouse in the background, and you're standing there with 10-foot surf rods casting out, looking for striped bass. The only thing I will add a little warning for folks if you're
don't
going
wear your
up,
flip-flops.
there might be a jellyfish or two.
Oh yeah, right.
So I mean, but other than that, absolutely gorgeous spot. And, just another one of those many places in New Brunswick that I was very excited to get to explore. And I look forward to exploring more of them this summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there's so many of those. And I hate it. I hate naming 5, especially always focusing on the cities, because we know that There's just little, I mean, you can go into any community in our beautiful province, and you're going to have people there who can tell you exactly where to go to get the best, to get the best fish. So they're almost like, I don't know, they're almost like best kept secrets in some ways. I don't know what that feedback is, but I don't know. I don't think it's coming from me.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what it is either. Every now and then we get a little glitch, and I mean, I'll take the heat off you a little bit, and we'll move away from the cities to name some of the outstanding fishing, along with some history. And I mean, you talked about St. John. Well, just outside of St. John, you've got the entire Kennebecasis River system stretching all the way from St. John up through here to the Sussex area, that entire valley. You've got Perth Andover, once again, the St. John River and the Tobic, St. John, Tobic, Aroostook rivers all coming together. Probably the smallmouth bass factory here in New Brunswick. I actually had the pleasure of witnessing the first ever, I don't know what you know about competitive bass fishing, Minister Scott-Wallace, but in bass fishing, the teams bring bags of 5 fish still alive to the scales to be weighed. And one of the biggest complaints trying to get out of province anglers to come here were, well, New Brunswick doesn't have 20-pound bags, meaning 5 fish totaling 20 pounds.
Right.
New Brunswick does have 20-pound bags, and I had the pleasure of witnessing the first one ever a couple years ago. 2 gentlemen from Fredericton, Martin Bear and Ernie, I apologize, his name's escaping me at the moment, brought the first ever 20-pound bag in New Brunswick to the scales, and there's been a couple since then. So New Brunswick can now say they have it, and Perth Andover is the spot. And another spot, you've got the St. Croix River system. Get down the St. Stephen area, and there's history everywhere, and there's fish everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why people will say there was nothing biting. There's always something biting somewhere. It's just a matter of knowing, of having the experience or knowing where to look.
Well, there we have a comment coming in from a viewer in Ontario. Kurt, hello, how are you? Greetings. Hopefully you get down to visit us sometime in the not too distant future. Kurt Northfield in Ontario. Love hearing about the East Coast. So.
Oh yeah, we would love to have him back. That's, that is important. And we're finding, in tourism, we're asking people in Ontario or Quebec or all the people, these are common guests, and we haven't been able to have them for a while, but, we're asking, where's the first place you'll go? And when you return to New Brunswick, so possibly he'll return to a body of water somewhere. But let's hope anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now, Matt had one other question for you, and I'm going to put you on the spot. And I know you're not the fishing expert, so if you have to deflect this one, I understand. But this is from a Nova Scotia resident. As a non-resident of New Brunswick, what is the one fishery you would recommend? You were worried about naming the top 5, so your 5 locations. Now he's asking you to name one fishery.
Well, I guess I would have to say, fishing in New Brunswick is a year-round sport. So I guess I would have to consider what season we're talking about, because like I mentioned earlier, it's just different rods and tackle, right? So depending on the time of year. But I guess I would have to say right now, well, today it would be Miramichi striped bass. I would have to say that. But if Matt is coming here and say Canada Day, then or he can't get here until after Canada Day, but then maybe he would focus on the smallies and the muskie, which are a stone's throw away from the legislature here in Fredericton, just because I happen to be sitting in Fredericton right now. So maybe that's where I would direct him after Canada Day, we'll say.
Yeah, well, that's you could name a different fishery for each day of the week, and you wouldn't
absolutely
be wrong.
Right, absolutely true.
So,
and I must say, really, my heart would be if I was to have a day off, and I could get my father, again, a retired forest ranger for his entire career, and to have a day out on the creek and in Bilal Creek fishing for trout, that would be my absolute favorite place to be. There's no question.
Well, it's funny how our hearts work that way, that
Yeah.
those memories always pull us back to where we started.
It does. Yeah, they really do, don't they? Just even talking, even saying that, it kind of gets me a little bit, but these are where our best moments are, you know, with people we care about, having these experiences, and you know, New Brunswick's just full of heart, and this is an industry that's full of heart and tradition, really. And so there's a lot of family stories, I'm sure, that involve a fishing rod and a body of water somewhere.
Well, and hopefully those stories will continue, and you know, with the help of your department and the work you guys are doing, the work that Minister Holland is doing over at Natural Resources to get back into the stocking programs and the different things that they're doing that had kind of fallen by the wayside. You know, I think all those parts, all those puzzle pieces will start fitting together.
Absolutely. And that stocking, you know, that is so important. That's the anglers are paying for that through their fishing license, right? And Minister Holland and his department, I mean, they're executing that, and they're making sure that that there's fish being stocked in our lakes and our water, you know, so people can enjoy that. That's just incredibly important that we maintain that, and there is a site, a DNR on the DNR website that does actually outline what's being stocked and when, and that's just very good information for people to have. And I'm not sure that they realize that it is available. Maybe it is something Minister Holland talked about, but that is good information.
Oh, without a doubt. And, you know, any information that we can put out there, whether it be through DNR or through your department, to tell people what fish, what opportunities are available in what areas. You know, I know it would be an unbelievable amount of data to compile, but it's a constant stream. If you follow the social media, the fishing pages and the different groups, people are constantly asking, you know, I'm going here, I'm going there, what's available, where can I go? And, you know, I love, and I'm going to give you this and maybe put a little bug in your ear. I think it might be something that your department, maybe in conjunction with Minister Holland, kind of matching. If you go back and take a look at what the show we did 2-3 weeks ago now with the folks from Fish Nova Scotia. They've done a great job promoting and also working with, and it's something I don't think New Brunswick has, a guides association.
Nice,
to get the different guides for all the different species kind of all on the same page. It's not saying they have to charge the same amount or they don't all provide the same services, but they take some training in professionalism, etiquette, you know, how to handle themselves with their customers. And it really allows people to look at that as a resource to say, okay, I want to fish species X. Now I've got a list of guides who do so, and I know that they're going to be professional qualified guides. And that really would help enhance the experience for folks that aren't the experienced anglers that want to go out and have some fun with their family for a day or a weekend or however long it may be.
Well, yeah, you know, and I can say that probably never before has the Department of Natural Resources and tourism worked so closely together, and that's largely, you know, Minister Holland's interest, and he is absolutely committed to this industry, but also the way it can work with tourism. I mean, so we're working incredibly close together. We do have on our website, we have links to outfitters that you just you'll click salmon or trout or muskie or striped bass, and it'll give you a list of outfitters, and that is important. Of course, we want to promote them, and we want them to be able to take advantage of the 20% rebate I was talking about. So we are listing those, but the more than anything, again, you know, for someone who doesn't know entirely where to look, that is an opportunity to find that information if it's a world that you're unfamiliar with. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's part of what we're striving to do with Fish East is we can't bring on every guide, every outfitter, but we want to give people the tools. And yes, we've had some on, and I apologize to the ones that maybe we didn't know, we didn't reach out to. We don't know everybody. I mean, we know a lot of people, but we don't know them all. So, to be able to provide a resource, a starting point for someone to look, whether it's learning a new species or trying to track down a guide, and a show like this is of huge importance because it, that they see you, the person in charge of tourism for this province, front and center, taking the time to talk with us, which means you're taking the time to talk to them.
Right. Yeah. And, and I did see that episode you were talking about. And so that would be possibly an excellent initiative. I wrote down with a little star here, that idea, because it is an excellent one. And it was important to me to talk to your audience tonight, because I think, I guess I started, the show by saying you don't always see tourism when you're thinking of angling or hunting, fishing. You're not always thinking of the tourism piece in it. You think of it more as being a Department of Natural Resources territory, but I just really, it is such an important industry, and right now it's just growing in popularity. It's such an excellent opportunity. I mean, it just has everything, of course, because you live it and you love it. And so you've already figured this out, and most of your audience has figured this out, but not everyone has in New Brunswick. And so I'm learning as minister, and I had limited knowledge. I thought I probably knew more than I did, but once you really start exploring the species and the opportunities in this province, you realize it really isn't as it's not as bare bones as one might think. It's incredible. Really, it's incredible.
As you said, you can go as deep, or as it's the difference between going to Canadian Tire and buying the $35 rod, or having the $1,000 rod and the $100,000 boat. You can spend as much or as little as you want.
Right, and worms are free in your garden, or you can get the good stuff. I can only imagine what people spend on ties for fly fishing, and it's on flies. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. It's an incredible thing. And in my garage, I still just have the standard fishing poles that get all wrapped in together, and I just can't. I can't seem to straighten them out.
Remind me sometime when I actually get to meet you in person. We've talked a couple times. I think I have a couple spares out in my garage, a great Canadian-made product called the Rod Glove. They go over top of your rods. They're just a nylon material, or type of rod sock, basically, and they keep your rods from tangling. And I think I may have a couple spares. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Gee. See the things I learned tonight. You need to do a show just on that.
No, I don't think I can do a whole show on just the Rod Glove, but we do like doing shows, and we have done one in the past, and I know we're planning on doing one in the near future about locally made tackle.
Yeah.
So on top of the fishing opportunities, we have some great local businesses that are making tackle. Whether it be flying or tying flies, or musky baits, smallmouth baits. Like there's across New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, the entire region. They are craftsmen. To me, they are artists just the same as any other. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so, I did not know that. I did not realize that. Yeah, when we get off the air tonight, I will send you a link to the first show we did for local tackle makers. We had a couple from different regions, and they really are craftsmen, craftswomen, craftspersons. I'm not sure the correct term to use. Yeah, great. Wow. So, as we start, we just kind of touched on this off the top. As we start returning to normal, or we see that light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, how do we really put New Brunswick on the map as a fishing destination? for people from out of this province? Like, what do you think, or what does your department see as our next step to really draw these people in to our province?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've been talking about this. We've just recently hired a consultant very specifically for this reason. It's something we've never done before. But I mean, we really do identify that it's important, and we don't have the expertise really within our department, to be honest. So we have a consultant, Pete Stoddard, who is an avid angler, and well, he does all kinds of things, but he really is gathering the information we need on the species, the variety of species here, the opportunities that are available, working with our outfitters, and really developing a strategy to promote this industry and to give people a reason to come when maybe they didn't think things that they didn't know before. But we have to, as we're reaching out to the other provinces and saying, what will you do first in New Brunswick? We want them very much to know, or to have the option that this is one of the first things they can do in New Brunswick. We can't only promote our beaches and our provincial parks and our other attractions. This is something that we have to elevate front and center as a tourism opportunity, because we know the potential is huge. We know that people want to be on the water like they've never wanted to be before, and that is all ages, and both and male and female. So there's a potential, and we know it's important, and that is really going to be our approach. We are investing in this industry in this way.
Well, and I think that's something that the whole province can benefit from. It's not just one river, one city, one species of fish. If we're going, to invest in the outdoor industry as a whole, for our province, I think that's something that on a bigger scale is overdue, and I commend you and your department for pursuing that.
Thank you, and I really hope too, for people who maybe don't have a lot of experience with fishing, I really hope they take advantage of our Fish and Bee Days. And it's just a little plug, I would like to give to that for June 5th and 6th. These are days when people can fish without a license in New Brunswick, and maybe it's the opportunity they need to be reintroduced to fishing, or maybe it's a day to go out with grandpa. I don't know, but it's just very important for people to realize they can fish for free on June 5th and 6th without a license, and maybe they'll rediscover their love, of fishing.
And I think that word rediscover, and I can speak as to how much that rediscovery can do to you.
Yeah.
I fished a little bit when I was a child, not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I never picked up a rod again until I was 30 years old.
Right.
And I'll be 45 this year. And you can ask my wife. That's, aside from our family and our son, that's about all I talk about.
Right. I've gone fishing. You've gone fishing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome.
I can't thank you enough for joining us, Minister Scott-Wallace. This is the Honorable Tammy Scott-Wallace. Do you want to give your official title? Because I refer to you as the Minister of Tourism, but I know there's more to it than that.
Yeah, well, I am the Minister of Tourism, Heritage and Culture, and the Minister responsible for women's equality. I will say that for all of our women anglers out there. But I've really enjoyed this opportunity, Donald. Thank you really so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. And, hopefully one of these days we can actually get you out and maybe get you doing something other than just chasing a couple trout in the creek out in Belial.
Okay, my pleasure. Absolutely. You don't have to ask me twice.
Sounds good. Thank you again for joining us. We will be in touch soon. You have a good evening.
Good. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Honorable Tammy Scott-Wallace, New Brunswick Minister of Tourism, Heritage and Culture. I hope I got that right. It was really nice to talk to her. It's nice to see the New Brunswick government taking more steps in promoting a lot of what this province has to offer. We have so many opportunities, whether it be like there's so many species we mentioned: smallmouth, striped bass, salmon, trout, muskie, sturgeon. I don't have enough fingers. I'll run out, so I'm going to stop counting there. And that's just a small sampling. So hats off to them for the great work they're doing. And Pete Stoddard, who we've had on before, working in the background with them to help feed them the information they need to really take this to the next level. So I can't say enough can't thank them enough. And I feel a little out of place. Normally I have Matt to talk to at the end of an episode, but so now I'm just rambling to myself and to you folks at home. I want to thank Master Promotions, the Maritime Boating and Outdoor Digital Marketplace. Why I've had a hard time wrapping my tongue around that one for the last 7 episodes, but I've stumbled through it. I can't thank them enough for the opportunity to put on this special series. I know we've been hyping a special guest. That special guest is still coming. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it done in time to make it a part of this special series, but trust me, when that special guest does come around, you don't want to miss it. I don't have our exact schedule nailed down. We're going back to bi-weekly shows after tonight, so the next show will be 2 weeks from tonight, and I don't have our exact show nailed down, but we're going to be doing a special on electronics. I believe we're going to have a chance to chat with some folks from the Striper Cup after that event is over to do a wrap-up. Our secret mystery guest is still in the mix there. We have some great shows coming up. So don't forget to stay tuned. Keep track on our social media. If you missed the episode, you can catch it either on Facebook or any of our episodes. You can catch them on Facebook or look them up on our YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us. My name's Donald Patterson. On behalf of all of us here at Fish East, have a great night. Fish on and fish east.
We'll do the things we love again. We'll hang out with friends. We'll put our screens away and be amazed by what's been waiting for us. We'll dance and eat and laugh again. We'll look in our own backyard and find that it is full of wonders. There will be adventures and art. We will stand in the sunshine and we will be free. Where will you go first?